What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I'm here today to do my honorable mentions and personal favorites for the year of 2013. Now, this year has been consistent in delivering some incredible music from within the realms of hardcore, metal, grindcore, and any other format of music. And there are some titles that really just stick with you and stay stuck with you, and honestly, these are albums that I really digged and enjoyed and don't really feel the need to warrant putting them on any sort of top 10, top 20 kind of list. I mean, this is a list in itself, but these are just some of the personal favorites and stuff that would be warranting of being honorable mentions here. So, let's get this out of the way. The first album on my list is the debut album from the band Noisem entitled Agony Defiled. Now, this band has been on a roller coaster ride this year. They came out with their debut, and they have been consistently touring and playing shows. They're going to be getting involved in the 2014 Decibel Magazine tour with the Black Dahlia Murder, Gorguts, and Carcass, and I think that tour is going to be a sensational amount of exposure for them, and I honestly think the exposure is well-deserved, because this band plays a music style that is just so dynamic and hard-hitting. I mean, think of 80s Slayer with elements of Possessed, just stuff that relies within old-school death metal, but with a little bit of old-school thrash mentality, and just a little touch of hardcore thrown in there, too. And I think this sound is incredible. It's amazing. This band definitely is worthy of a lot of the hype that it's been getting, and I really enjoy this band's style and approach. If you're into old-school death thrash, Noisem is a band to definitely be on the lookout and check out. It's definitely worth checking out. The next album on my list is the debut album from Howling entitled A Beast Conceived. Now, this album came out earlier in the year, and I was kind of a bit of a late bloomer when it came to finding out about this, but better late than never, I'd say. This album is unique for the fact that it definitely has so much of an homage to old school horror movies. I mean, from the lyrical content to the song titles to the themes. I mean, songs based off of The Fog, Halloween 3, Pumpkinhead. This band definitely gets the job done when it comes to talking about great old school horror, and they back it up with some incredible death thrash. I mean, the guitar work is just sizzling, it's soaring, it's loud, it's amazing. The vocal work is sensational, the lyrics are great. This is an awesome album, and the EP that this band came out with a couple of months ago definitely is something worth checking out too. It only makes me wonder what the future is going to be having for Howling. I think it's really great stuff, and if you're into old school death metal or horror movies, Howling is definitely a band to be checking out. The next album on my honorable mentions personal favorites list is the new album from the band Verminous entitled The Unholy Communion. Now, Swedish death metal has had a really awesome year, preferably with albums from bands such as Entrails, Sorcery, and Necrocurse. But the one Swedish death metal album that I saw myself coming back to the most, more likely than anything, is the new album from the band Verminous. This band has such a raw, filthy approach to their sound, and I think it sounds amazing. I mean, the songs, the lyrics, the musicianship, the great drum work, very intricate riffing. I really enjoyed the hell out of this Verminous record. It's very deep, very harrowing, and definitely is a detriment to what the Swedish death metal sound should feel like. And I think The Unholy Communion gets the job done here. I mean, from the lyrics to the artwork, I think it's a tremendous record and definitely the best piece of Swedish death metal I've heard all year. So if you're into that kind of thing, definitely check out Verminous. Also check out Entrail, Sorcery, and Necrocurse too. They're definitely worth checking out. Excuse me. Next on my list is the new album from the band Goma entitled Meteor. Now, Meteor is such an off-the-wall grind kind of record. I mean, this band had just started to make its name well known again when they came out with their EP last year. And then, now that they came out with a full-length album, I really, really think it showcases Antigma at the top of their game. I mean, there's much more to grind than meets the eye with this band. I mean, the vocal patterns, the drum patterns, the guitar work, the bass work, the lyrics, the almost avant-garde sci-fi-esque type of elements that you would get with this band, you get in full force here with Meteor, and I honestly think this is one of the best things that they've put out in quite some time. I mean, if you're a fan of this band's prior works, you'll find something very amazing to enjoy about Meteor. I think this is my favorite grind record of this year, and I'm looking forward to finding out what 2014 has to offer as far as grindcore is concerned. Antigma have really set the bar high with this one. I really, really love it. The next album on my list is the new album from the band Locrian, entitled Return to Annihilation. Now, Locrian are one of those bands that really have a style and a sound that's almost too difficult to describe. I mean, in some instances, you can tell there are elements of post-metal, drone, doom, sludge, even black metal to a certain extent. This band highlights so many different music styles, and they deliver an amazing, beautiful record. I mean, it's haunting, it's harrowing. I don't know if it'll be to everyone's tastes, but Locrian have been a band that I've been enjoying for years, and they put out an album that is just so deeply mesmerizing. I mean, it's captivating. The more you listen to it, the more impressions you get with the kind of style and complex you pick up with this band. Locrian are great, and they have delivered another great record with Return to Annihilation. It's definitely something worth revisiting and coming back to. The next album on my list is the debut album from the band Goma, entitled Eradication of Insignificant Beings. Now, this was kind of difficult for me to decide because listening to a lot of great brutal death metal in 2013, I mean, you had albums from bands like Deeds of Flesh, Carnivore Disapropos, even the mighty Guttural Secrete came out with a really awesome record. But I wanted to showcase Goma for the fact that this is a band that has so much potential and so much good things riding on them. They deserve to be discussed and talked about, in my opinion. And with Eradication of Insignificant Beings, you got some incredibly off-the-wall death metal going on here. I mean, the brutality of it all, the slams, the riffs, the technicality, the fast drum work, the top-notch bass. Probably some of the lowest, most guttural vocals I've ever heard on any kind of record. I think it's jaw-dropping, the level of hard work that gets shown up with the vocals here. I think the vocals are awesome. The lyrics are great too. And this band has such a bright future ahead of them. I'm looking forward to them hopefully fine-tuning their sound and getting better. They have way more stuff to look into and decide on what is best for them. I know in January they're going to have an East Coast tour with Embalmer and Splattered Entrails. I think that's going to be a really good tour. If you're in the East Coast, if you're in New York or wherever, definitely go see them live. They're worth seeing live. Definitely support Goma. They're great. The next album on my list is the new album from the band Satan, entitled Life Sentence. Now, I showed this album off in a CD update and saying that when I would eventually get the chance to talk about them again, I would go into a little bit more detail. Well, this band came out with this album 26 years after the last album that they put out, Suspended Sentence. I mean, this band is well known for not only their second album, but for their debut album, Court in the Act. I mean, really, really top quality heavy metal that really shows its age and shows its respect to how long it's been delivering the goods. And now, 26 years later, the band is back under the Satan name, the original lineup from the first album, and then you get a record that is just so damn entertaining. I mean, the vocals are amazing, great singing going on here, the musicianship is top-notch, the lyrics are top-notch. I mean, just a lot of memorable songs like 2025, Testimony, Tears of Blood, just some really, really good songwriting going on here. I really enjoy what Satan have brought forth to the table with Life Sentence, and this is definitely a calling card as to what real heavy metal should sound like. I love this record, and it is definitely a fun piece of heavy metal to listen to. The next album on my list is the new and final album from the band Altar of Plagues, entitled Teeth, Glory, and Injury. Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I really wasn't sure how to feel about Teeth, Glory, and Injury at first, because when I first listened to this album, the one thing that I noticed more than anything is the fact that this is an album that is so incredibly varied and spread out. Because in typical Altar of Plagues fashion, you would have albums that only have 4 songs but really run at a very long, lengthy running time. This album was completely different. It felt a little bit more stripped down. It felt more experimental. But yet it was still within the typical Altar of Plagues kind of ideas. Upon the first couple of listens, I really wasn't feeling it that much, and to be perfectly honest, I honestly feel this album doesn't hold a candle to the last couple of Altar of Plagues records, White Tomb and Mammal. Mammal being one of the most crushing pieces of music I've ever heard. But in due time, I decided to revisit this album, and then it hit me that this band was no longer going to be making music as a group. Of course, they have other bands that they are involved in nowadays, but Altar of Plagues really have done something incredibly different here. This is the most unique and varied record that this band has put out. By no means do I consider it their best, but I'm very fortunate enough to have had the opportunity to buy this and hear it. It's definitely worth the shot of taking, and they have made their thumbprint within the black metal scene, regardless of what kind of style you choose to label Altar of Plagues as. I think Teeth, Glory, and Injury is definitely something worth giving a shot to. If it ain't your thing, just move along to something else. But I definitely give Altar of Plagues the benefit of the doubt here. They put out what they wanted to put out, and they delivered something very special with Teeth, Glory, and Injury. The next album on my list is the new album from the band Inquisition, entitled Obscure Verses for the Multiverse. It's been quite a while since I've jammed this album, and I know this album was just recently released, but in giving this album many more listens, I've come to really, really respect and appreciate Inquisition for their contributions to black metal and for the kind of style they set out to put. Very calming, very moody, very dark, but yet it's played in a way that kind of harkens back to the Inquisition releases of old. I think the music here is incredibly top-notch. Excuse me. I love the lyrical content. I love the vocal style. Dagon's vocals are awesome. His guitar riffing is incredibly hypnotic and definitely makes you want to bang your head and pay attention. Incubus's drumming style is incredibly top-notch and on point. He delivers his drum work incredibly well. He's a great drummer, and definitely they are a band worth seeing live, definitely worth supporting. This is an amazing record, and definitely a fun listen. If you have this version, or if you have the jewel case or the vinyl or the tape, or whatever version of this album you have, definitely support it, and definitely support Inquisition. They're great stuff. And the last album on my list is an album that I almost completely forgot about, and I honestly feel a little dumb in almost forgetting about this particular album. This was one of the first perfect albums that I really enjoyed this year, and I still consider it to be a perfect record. And I'm talking about the new album from the band Nails, entitled Abandon All Life. This album is only 2 minutes longer than their debut, and it's not really saying much because it's a short record at only 17 minutes in length. But this album really brings forth the ideas of power violence, hardcore, grind, death metal. So many ideas and thoughts being brought forward, and Nails definitely add a little bit more of a metallic edge with this new album. I mean, it's really, really top of the heap stuff. I love the vocal style. I love the way that it's produced. I just love the intensity, the pissed off vibes and mentalities that you pick up with this album. I think it really, really sounds great. I love the hell out of Unsilent Death, and it only made me wonder what the next step was going to be for Nails, and they deliver another home run in the ballpark with Abandon All Life. I think it's an awesome album, and if you're into Nails, if you haven't heard their first album, hear that one, and then get on to Abandon All Life. I think it's a great, great record. So that's all my personal favorites and honorable mentions here. The next video you will most likely be seeing from me will be my top 20, 20 through 11, and then 10 through 1. And that will most likely happen around this weekend. So whatever you're happening to do within the holidays, I hope you have a good one. Have a good winter solstice. Have a good holiday, Christmas, whatever you happen to do or celebrate. Just have a good day. Just have fun. Enjoy yourselves. That's all that really matters here. So I'm going to conclude this video. Thanks a lot for watching. Make sure to check out my channel. And until the next time, Army Ho out.